A very good evening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, joining us tonight with our session. So I'm Trividelli Narachi, and I will be your host for tonight, guiding you all throughout this session. So on behalf of everyone at our organizing committee, I would like to make this an opportunity to warmly welcome all of you to tonight's session on the topic IEEE Computer Society Strategies, Awards, and Scholarships. So we all know that IEEE SLS YWC is going on these days. IEEE SLS YWC 2021. Or as we all know, the IEEE Sri Lanka Section Congress is going on, and we are about a day away from the second phase of the Sri Lanka Section Congress. So as young IEEE volunteers, we all know that you guys are quite excited to be there for the second session, and we thought that this will be the perfect time, perfect period to conduct a session on IEEE Computer Society Scholarships, Awards, and Grants to give you a sound idea about what IEEE Computer Society is and what are the opportunities IEEE Computer Society offers you. So for this, we have two great speakers lined up this evening, and they are two of the most senior IEEE volunteers who have been able to go all the way up in the IEEE when it comes to IEEE volunteering. So our first speaker for the night, as you might have seen in the flyer, is Mrs. Schober. She is a practicing engineer with 38 years of experience and 16 US patents and 24 foreign patents under her name. She currently acts as the director of the Division 8 of IEEE Board of Directors. And then we have our next speaker who will be giving you all a sound idea on IEEE awards and scholarships that are offered by the IEEE Computer Society. And he's none other than Mr. Obler, who currently acts as the Vice President of the Member and Geographic Activities Committee of IEEE Computer Society. So ladies and gentlemen, since as always, the time in our hands is a discerning factor, I suppose it is time for us to jump into the session with Mrs. Schober. So Christina, good morning to you, because Christina is joining with us all the way from United States. So it is in fact morning for her. So good morning, and we are glad to have you here. Yeah, okay. So the screen is finally yours.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna share my screen and then move my slides over. Awesome. Okay, full view. Okay. I don't know, substitutes there. Sorry. I didn't realize this, but okay, so I'm Chris Schober. I'm the Division 8 Director, IEEE Director. So I'm on the IEEE Board of Directors. And actually with COVID, Honeywell was cutting back, so I actually retired last year with 40 years at Honeywell. So it was kind of exciting and fun. So I was a practicing engineer for 40 years, and now I'm able to dedicate more time to IEEE and the board. So what I'm going to talk about, because you were asking about student scholarships and awards, but I was just going to put a front end on it with the strategic overview, because IEEE has multiple levels. They've got a board of directors level that sets a strategic plan. And then all the technical societies, as you know, Computer Society sets a strategic plan, you know, as part of IEEE, but also as part of their membership and growth and where they want to go. So this is just going to be a quick overview. So what IEEE does is about every 5 years, they create a new or updated strategic plan. And I was on the Strategic Alignment Committee in 2019 when we came up with the latest 5-year plan. And at the IEEE level, they keep the plan short, succinct, so that it can be, you know, broadly broadcast and can flow year by year, with the plans and the implementations, but directed at these top level goals. So I won't read them all, but it's, the mission is to foster technological innovation and excellence for the benefit of humanity. So IEEE has moved out to try to be more of a world presence in the technical field and in the technical humanity. So what they do is they create this 5-year plan, and then year by year, this is last year's president, Kathy Land, created the 2021 Board of Directors strategic agenda. So they do it for the calendar year because they're president for a year. Ray Liu is the president for 2022, and his first big meeting is in a week. And I did check last night. He hasn't posted a strategic agenda yet, but he'll probably come up with something, when the matrix similar to Kathy. So she set this up, with objectives as the goal to implement the strategic plan and in the different areas. And then by quarter, and at the beginning of the year, she set up, a dozen or more ad hoc committees to evaluate and propose and then possibly implement, changes to governance, membership, stuff to achieve the strategic plan. So this is at the IEEE level. Well, then within the technical activity board is where all the society and councils report into. And each society council, almost all of them have a strategic plan. So the Computer Society, the way they did their last strategic plan, and they also update probably every 3 to 5 years, is their update was in 2018. They call it the SP9 strategic plan. And this is more wordy. I didn't find a good graphic implementation except for the yearly one. But this is only part of like a 53-page report, because Computer Society, instead of doing just a strategic plan, they also put in the goals, the metrics, the operating plan. They assigned some personnel to specific goals. So this is just a snippet out of like a 53-page report. And I expect they'll be updating it within the next 2 years. And yeah, so the Computer Society, okay, so the next page is, this is what the Computer Society president last year, Forrest Shull, put together for his tactical plan to, implement the strategic goals and objectives. And he did a similar thing to Kathy by quarter and then specific goals. And he also set up committees. And within those committees, they evaluated, surveyed, studied, and proposed changes. So a lot has actually happened based on these strategic plans, and then the presidents and their annual agendas, their tactical plans. So that was all I was going to present, because I wanted to leave the maximum amount of time for the student scholarships and awards, and there'll be a question and answer period afterwards. So maybe we'll hold the questions till then so we don't run late. That makes sense?
Yes, Chris, that's totally fine. All right, Chris, thank you so much for joining us and sharing all the experience, thoughts, and your wonderful facts about IEEE Computer Society. So ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to move to the next session, where we will be giving you an in-depth analysis and in-depth description on the awards and scholarships that are granted by the IEEE Computer Society. So for this, we have our second speaker for the night lined up, and he's, as I introduced to you earlier, Mr. Obler, currently serving as the Vice President of the Member and Geographic Activities Committee of IEEE Computer Society. Mr. Andre, good morning to you, and we are super glad to have you joining us this evening in Sri Lanka, and it might be your morning from your location. So,
yes. Thank you. I'm in Australia, and it is 1 o'clock in the morning here. So yes, it's the other end. We've gone full cycle. It's tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow, obviously. So hello from the past, I suppose. So right. So the screen is finally yours, so you can begin.
Thank you. I have some slides here. We had a number of our committee members working on these, but I'm not quite sure where that went. So this is mostly a deck that we already had. So I'll run you through these. One thing I should add is the Computer Society itself did actually update its strategic plan in 2020. So Forrest led that when he was the president-elect. The problem we have is, other than 6 bullet points, it's not been made public. So people know it exists, but they don't actually know what it says. And as you know, as Chris mentioned, it's a lot more than 6 bullet points. The Computer Society, I was part of the strategic planning committee, and we went with, I think it was something like 10 or 12 different areas that people prepared draft plans on. And then each of those plans were then taken through a review process, and a few of them were picked as key areas to zoom in on and to highlight. One of the areas we did highlight and make a priority was our focus on students. So that's very much come through. That is in the 6 bullet points that form part of the current plan. But there is a whole lot more detail in it. So let's get started. Just to start by running you through the actual awards. So the first one on our list here is the Stafford Larsen Best Paper Prize. These will be discussed in more detail later on, but these are for research papers. So 2 awards are given for an undergraduate paper and a postgraduate paper, and these are papers that one normally gets published. The UPE award is an award that is based partly on academic scores and partly on your community engagement. Richard E Moen is probably our largest single award. We give 14 of these awards, I think it is, but we do that twice. Sorry, no, it's more than that. I think it's 18 of the awards or something, 18 or 19 that we give in each cycle, and we have 2 cycles a year. So we can give less, but generally we do give all or almost all of them out. And these awards are very similar to the UPE award, except that there is more of a focus on contributions within the Computer Society itself. But it's still a combination of your academic achievement plus your leadership and community engagement, particularly in a Computer Society context. So going into a bit more detail, and these are again just the individual awards. There are some other awards I'll mention as well. So the Stafford Larsen Award was established by the Larsen family, and it was in memorial for their son who died while he was an undergraduate student. The family, the president was a past president of the IEEE Computer Society, and the award itself is $500, which is given to the first place winner, and then we give certificates to the first, second, and third place runners-up. There's a deadline of the 31st of October each year, I think you can put in the application anytime, but it doesn't get judged until November. And then the winner and the runners-up are announced. Eligibility, again, open to all IEEE student members. If you're not a member, you can't apply for this award. Papers have to be 20 pages or less, and they need to be on a computing-related subject, and they need to be presented at a computing-related conference or published in, for example, a computing-related magazine, journal, etc. It doesn't have to be published within a computer society journal. Anything in the field is fine, provided the person that publishes it is an IEEE student member. As mentioned, we've actually got 2 of these, one for undergraduate, one for postgraduate now, which also means for the postgraduate award, you can obviously be a graduate student member as well. Criteria it's judged on are the technical content, the writing skill, and the overall presentation. The UPE Honour Society. So this is put together by the Executive Council for Epsilon Pi Epsilon, and it's to encourage academic excellence for students in the computing discipline. Up to 4 awards are granted. I believe every year where we've had a decent number of candidates, we have actually made all 4 awards. Lately, we have had a reasonable number of candidates. In the past, there were some years where, we might only get 3 people applying, in which case, obviously, we didn't make 4 awards. This award is fixed at $1,000, and you get given that and a certificate of commendation, and you get a 1-year subscription to a Computer Society periodical. All graduate and undergraduate students who are IEEE Computer Society members and full-time students at an academic institution are eligible. Student winners of the Richard E Moen or the UPE award for the previous year, and we count that as 13 months, are not eligible. So if you apply for this award at the same time as you apply for a Merwin Award, if you end up being selected for both, we will choose which one you get, and you will get just one of them. The Merwin Award, as you'll see in a minute, is also $1,000 prize money, and judged again on very similar criteria. Somebody that wins one is likely to also win the other if the competition is about the same in both. People are in both cases ranked, so it's actually possible for the same application with the same background to rank differently depending on who they're competing against. The criteria: academic achievement, extracurricular activities relating to the discipline of computing, and there are some letters of recommendation. For this one, any activities relating to the discipline of computing, whether they're in the Computer Society or outside of it, are all treated the same. That's the big difference between this one and the Merwin Scholarship. Let me just check if Merwin's there. Yep, there's Merwin. Okay, so Merwin, again, it's created in honor of the late Richard E Moen, who's a past president of the Computer Society, and it recognizes and rewards student leadership. The award recognizes active student volunteers, particularly those that are active within their Computer Society student chapter within their campus, or they may be people who are student leaders at a campus that doesn't have a Computer Society chapter, but they're leading work on computing-related events, programs, etc., within their student branch. They also have to be showing a large degree of academic excellence and professional efforts. The winner of the award for this one, but not the UPE award, then after getting the $1,000 prize money, they serve for a year as an IEEE Computer Society student ambassador. And the ambassadors are given mentoring, they're given opportunities for leadership, and once people have served as an ambassador, that's something that sort of stays with you. Those are the sort of first people we look at when we're looking to fill volunteer roles, particularly with early career professionals. By definition, our Merwin winners, our student ambassadors, are people that are close to the society with very strong academic records and very strong efforts at successful volunteering. So they're often the first place we go when we're looking for future leaders. I'll just start back to the previous slide here. So this is the current team for 2022. As we're still in very early January, I've been appointed as the Vice President, and I oversee this area, as well as all of our chapters and related things inside MGA board. I've appointed Edward, who served in this role last year and is serving again as the Vice Chair for Awards and Recognition. So he oversees all of the awards committees. Edward was literally appointed in the last couple of days. So he will now be appointing within the next week or so, the chair of the different awards. Now, you can see we've also got mentoring coordinators. They are the ones that actually organize the mentors and support the student ambassadors. On top of the individual awards, and I don't think there's a slide for it. Okay, no, we'll come back to that. But on top of the individual awards, we do also manage the Outstanding Chapter Awards. And we used to have just two of those, one for the best section chapter and one for the best student chapter. Last year, and we'll continue this year, we've added 3 additional awards. So we have the main Outstanding Chapter Awards, and they get $1,000 grant to the chapter and a certificate. But we've also now got 3 $500 awards, one for the professional chapter, the section chapter that does the best work engaging with students, one for either a professional chapter or a student chapter who engages best with industry. And the last one is for the student chapter or the section chapter, which is engaging best with our early career professionals. So you only apply once for an Outstanding Chapter Award, and the committee will look at what you qualify for and then where you get ranked for the different awards. Again, if you get the overall winner for a student chapter or the overall winner for a section chapter, that's what you'll get. You won't get the lower level awards. So the 3 below that are really sort of runner-up awards. I saw there's another slide here with a little bit more detail on the Merwin Award. Again, this is the one where we have the most winners each year, the most awards to give out. We spend about $40,000 in prize money for this particular award. So the eligibility, graduate students and those in the final 2 years of an undergraduate program in a discipline relevant to computing, who are active members of a student branch or a chapter. There are some exceptions where we have had people who are active members, let's say as a graduate student, and they've been active members of their section chapter instead. That's possible, but it's much more rare. You need to have been a member for at least 3 months prior to the application deadline. It does say here the deadlines are in April and September. We may have moved them slightly since then, but they're still around those 2 times of year. Students applying for the award need to have a minimum 1 year left in their studies. And this is because if you get the award, when you are an IEEE Computer Society student ambassador, you need to actually be a student for that year. There's also a requirement that you have a minimum grade point average of 2.5 out of 4, or exam marks of at least 60%. I've got to tell you that those, if you're below that, your application will not be considered at all. The marks you have directly impact your score. You can see the criteria below, and you can see academic achievement is worth 30%. So if you literally have a 2.5, you are going to miss out on most of that 30%, which will easily knock you very low down in the rankings. So you really want to be, you really want to have very good academic scores, or it doesn't matter what else you do, you're unlikely to get high up on the ranking list for this award. And the same with UPE. Student winners, again, of UPE or this award in the past 13 months are not eligible. Remembering that there's 2 cycles, this means if somebody's won the April cycle, they can't apply in the September cycle and they can't apply in the next April cycle. That's the way it's been worked out. There is also a rule that there is a maximum of 2 winners from any individual university or college. If there's more than 2 people that qualify, the lowest ranking one gets knocked out. And that's just because the standard of volunteers at a university is impacted by the resources you have, by the opportunities you have. And the view is that the 3rd best person from any given institution doesn't deserve it as much as the best person from a different institution. It also fixes a problem we had with one particular university in India, which at one point was winning about 1/3 of the positions every time we ran the award. And that started looking a little bit silly, so we had to fix that. The criteria you can see at the bottom here. Let me go back. So again, 30% for your participation in IEEE Computer Society and IEEE activities. It really is weighted much more towards Computer Society, unless, again, you're in a place where the Computer Society doesn't have its own chapter and all of the Computer Society activities are only done under an IEEE student branch banner, for example. Academic achievement is a straight conversion. You have these scores and you must submit your transcripts. Depending on your scores, as well as any academic awards you've won, that will determine your score for that 30%. There is 10% that goes to non-IEEE extracurricular activities. That can be absolutely anything. It doesn't need to be related to computing at all. Again, things that demonstrate leadership are particularly welcome for that. And also just things that give a rounded perspective of your engagement. There's also the requirement for these letters of recommendations. One of the letters needs to come from your faculty advisor or student branch counselor. That's so someone that knows you from the campus, that is formally in that role, overseeing either the student chapter or the student branch. And there is a second letter you can have, which is optional, which can come from anybody. If you don't have letters if you don't have that first letter from the right person, your application will get knocked out. We do have a particular process where you can get a letter from the chair of your section IEEE Computer Society chapter, but there needs to be a reason for that. So, for example, where you don't have a student society chapter, you don't have a student branch, and you're a graduate student member whose volunteering has been done through the section chapter. In that case, we will accept a letter from the section chair, the section chapter chair. And finally, there's 10% that goes to a vision statement. The vision statement is about what you will do as a student ambassador. So you should come with some ideas for a particular project you might want to run and some way you're going to use that student ambassador year in order to make an impact either for your campus or for your region or for your country or the IEEE region more generally. I've mentioned the student ambassadors before, so you get your mentoring and you get the opportunity to serve in other positions. We've had a number of ambassadors recently, for example, who have served with the Distinguished Visitor Committee. So they've been assisting with publicity and assisting meeting the individual distinguished visitors and helping connect them with chapters and other things to present talks. There's many other examples of what they do. This is a mentoring diagram of how it works. There is an interaction, or we're trying to improve it again, between the student ambassadors from a particular region and the regional committee that looks after all of the section chapters within that particular area. We really want to try and make the student ambassador year an opportunity to meet people, to volunteer, and to be able to move on to other leadership positions in the future. And that's the last slide. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Right, folks, if you have any questions about the awards and scholarships offered by the IEEE Computer Society, you can unmute yourselves and ask them away. Or if you're not feeling that brave, you can always use the chat box down below and type your questions. We'll give it about 2 minutes, 3 minutes to see if you have any questions. This is a great chance because Mr. Andre and Mrs. Christina Schober are two of the senior volunteers of IEEE, and I think that this will be a great opportunity for you to interact with them and ask clear your doubts from this session.
Oh, yeah, Andre, Mini joined too, if you want to introduce Mini.
Yeah, where's Minnie? Do you want to there we go. Hi, you're on mute.
Hello,
So-
Andre. It is great. I mean, early in the morning, you are joining the kind of volunteer you are. And
I wasn't expecting to speak. I didn't realize I was coming. I got an email from Chris saying, "Are you coming?" And I said, "I can come."
very good.
Well, yeah, I didn't know how the MGA slides were split up, but I did have two comments when I did see the slides earlier. Andre and I know we always cross-check each other. Larsen actually has an undergraduate and a graduate paper award.
Yes.
There's two. So the slide just didn't say that. And
yeah,
then,
no, I mentioned it. I mentioned it verbally. Yep.
Oh, okay. I missed it. And then the open enrollment, maybe we want to make it all year because right now the IEEE system limits you to the 6 2-month period. So that might be a change because that was a comment when we were reviewing slides that we had made amongst ourselves. So yeah, it was excellent. For 1 in the morning, you were amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, can I ask maybe Minnie? Minnie's joined MGA board this year as a member at the top level, but she's actually been serving on the Awards and Recognition Committee for a number of years, including actually chairing the Outstanding Chapter Awards for a couple of years now. So Minnie, I don't know if you want to add anything about, I mentioned briefly that we have the student and the section chapter award, and then we've got the 3 new awards, which are sort of runners up for particular areas. But I don't know if you want to share any more about what we look for in outstanding chapter awards, and I haven't gone into that at all.
I think I can just add a few points, like what is the, how we are actually assessing the outstanding chapter. Basically, we are looking at technical activities. That is very, very important. What are the technical activities done by the chapter? What are the societal outreach activities you're doing? What are the membership advancement you are doing? And which is visible also the last 3 years, how the membership increase has happened, or what is the status of membership. Some people say that we have got 100% increase. What do you mean by that? 6 has gone to 12. But percentage wise, it's correct. So the impact of what the activities you are doing should be visible. This is a vicious circle. So it is the impact of the activities you are doing in your chapter that reflects in the membership coming year. So that is also very important. And the increase, of course, the increase in the number. And as Andre has told you, award consists of, I mean, the OCA is the major award, and the rest will come as a honors or honorable mention kind of thing. But still, it is a sort of encouragement. And another thing I want to tell you is that all the student branches and the section society chapters, please do apply for the awards. We need more applications. We need more competitive applications. So make sure that you are preparing yourself for applying this. Make sure your documentation is perfect. That makes our evaluation also much more easier. So all the student branch chapters and the society chapters, please ensure that your documentation is correct. This is something which I wanted to add to your point, Andre. You have made everything very clear, nothing more. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Minnie. I'll just add, I had a private message here just asking, can people from all regions apply? Very definitely yes, The Computer Society, I know the IEEE regions sometimes have different awards and grants and things. The Computer Society, everything we do is for everyone associated with the Computer Society. We do also have grants available to our chapters, both student chapters and section chapters can apply. These are managed by the region level, but every region works under the same rules. They just have a different pot of money and a different committee making the decision. And obviously the regions that have more chapters, we've given a little bit of more money into the regional pot. But very definitely everything we're talking about is available for everybody. Well, for everyone that's a Computer Society member, that is required for some of it.
Thank you so much for that wonderful input. Okay, yeah.
Well, I've just got another private message I might just reply to here. The question is, what happens if a student is in transition? For example, they finish their undergraduate and they're getting ready for MPhil or MSc, but they've not completed registration. Can they apply? If you have a firm offer that you're about to start, that you're going to be accepted, this has come up, and I believe the committee will accept that, but you will need to explain that you are finishing your degree but about to start further study, and we will be asking for the evidence of that. So at the time you prepare your award, it's going to be sort of 3 months before the final results come out, 2 months maybe, depending. But the result is in that time, you should have firmed up, your offer should have been accepted, and you'll need to actually show that you are, your intention is being realized. You don't have to, if you're moving universities, that's fine, right? You can do your undergrad, you can be finishing in one place and moving to a different university to do your next degree. If you're on exchange, doesn't matter. If you're sort of second year, you're in a different country, in a different university. Again, we're a global organization. As long as you are still going to be studying the following year, you're okay. Oh, and another one. Two more. Can I ask maybe if people want to put their questions publicly rather than just privately to me, because then other people can maybe jump in as well and also see how we're going for time. So there's a question about an outstanding project award. It's an outstanding chapter award. And it's the point for it is about the activities, membership growth, etc., of the chapter itself. Okay. And it's not an individual student that wins that award. It's the chapter itself that wins the award. So then a grant is made to the chapter, and the chapter will use that money to fund activities after it gets the money. So potentially the following year, if the awards normally come out late in the year, the money will be allocated to you, and the following year you'll be able to spend the money. As I say, the main awards are $1,000 US. The 3 more minor awards that are new are $500, I believe. And Minnie's nodding, so I'm assuming that's right. And that amount of money for most student chapters, $500, $1,000 is a significant sum to run an activity. And you can also apply for up to $200 yourself from the Computer Society, from your regional committee. And if you do something with your section chapter, they can apply for up to $2,000. So, and they'd want to do that with multiple student, multiple student chapters. So there is a lot of opportunity there to get funding. The award is one way of doing it. The sort of honor of winning the award is very, that's really what's important. The money is a help. The money says we acknowledge what you've done as being very, very good, and we want to help it continue. So here is a contribution to help facilitate that. In terms of applying, the awards are on the website. I might paste a bunch of links in a minute. Can we know more about getting the Outstanding Chapter Award, and what are the positive points in your atmosphere for IEEECS as a student chapter? I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I think that one's probably one for many. So what are we looking for, and what I think the question is, what does this create for the students themselves? Okay, what's the link between what we're giving an award for and the experience of the students? And Minnie, if I can pass that one to you, I'll try and find the links.
You want me to paste the link?
No. I was going to ask if you could comment about what we look for the Outstanding Chapter Awards, and how it relates to actually benefiting the ordinary members. Okay.
So this is a society chapter award. So the focus is on technical activities. That's the first thing you have to understand. So how you are doing.
Minnie, can I maybe ask you to explain what we mean by technical activities?
Technical activities, exactly. That's what I was about to tell you. When I say technical activities, it can be a workshop, it can be technical talks, it can be training on technical activities, it can be more than that, this kind of things, not the other societal activities. Okay, so that is very, very important. You are running some technical training, you're running some technical workshops, great. And on the cutting edge area, computer doesn't have there is no shortage on the theme which you can choose for, So that is very, very important. The second one is the societal activities, like you look around, what are the activities where you can help the communities? That's also very important. We look into how this membership advancement is happening. Like, for example, what are the membership development activities you're doing? What do you mean by that? You have to make sure that whatever you're doing in your society, in the society chapter, is known to everybody, and you have to get a feedback from your members, like what they're actually looking forward. Plus, this is another activity, what are the scholarships, what are the benefits they'll get out of when they are a part of the society. So this will in fact help you in getting more and more members. It is basically how you're working that is reflected in the membership development. So membership development is also a very important aspect when you're being considered, when you're looking at, when we are judging an outstanding chapter. So basically 3 points I would again stress and stress: technical activities, societal activities, and membership development. I hope I have made it clear. Thank you, Andre.
Yeah, one other thing I would mention, just because we haven't mentioned it so far, it's not really awards, but it's very much student focused. We do also have a Students and Young Professionals Committee, so we consulted them as well in pulling some of this together. The Student and Young Professionals Committee runs global level online activities related to students, as well as representing both students and young professionals all the way up. We have a vice chair of MGA board, which is a committee I chair and that Minnie's on. We have a representative of students and young professionals who serves as a vice chair of that committee. One of the things this committee, we call it the SYP committee, one of the things they do is they run a help desk that can discuss applications with students that want to apply for the awards, particularly the Merwin Award. And they have nothing to do with the judging. The criteria, you see the public criteria, we have much more detailed criteria that we can't discuss with you, which is behind the scenes. We have, when we say that your score is adjusted depending on different awards you might get, we have lists that say the sorts of awards and how many extra points you get for them, and all to make sure things are consistent. And what sort of positions you might have run, or what sort of activities you might have done, and the range of points that should be given for that, all to ensure consistency. So that information is not public, and the students who run the help desk there don't have any of that. Only the judges do, and they're in a different committee entirely. But I think I'm right to say that everybody that is on the help desk to help with the Merwin Awards in particular is a past winner of those awards. So they're people who have not only gone through the process, but they've actually been judged to be in the top positions once everybody's ranked. And they've been given the award and served as a student ambassador. There's one comment here. Someone says, I'm in my first semester of my first year. Is it okay? Well, it's certainly okay, but it's not okay for applying for the award. What you need to do for, well, not for the Merwin Awards. What you need to do is get involved in your student chapter, build up your experience, get involved in activities, in leadership positions, and then when you're in your second or third year, then you can apply. But if you applied with no background, having not done anything in your first year, having no history, firstly, you're not going to get opportunities in your second and third year. Well, you're not going to get as good an opportunity as someone who's been an active volunteer that has a track record of working with the chapter. But also you won't have as much stuff to put on your application. So, you know, I would get involved now and work towards applying when you're in your second or third year. If you happen to publish a paper, you can still apply for the Larsen Award, though. I don't think there's any limits on when you can apply for that. Okay, that's all of the questions I've got in the chat. So I might pass back to our host, or if Chris or Minnie, if you've got anything else.
I have one last, sorry. I have one last piece of advice. This is a volunteering activity. So joy of volunteering is the most important thing. And this is something which you have to enjoy more than all these things. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Andre.
I just got another question in the chat. Someone's asking, how can we join? Well, I think that the local chapter can talk to you about how you can actually join, but it's on the websites. There is a link. I'll just find it. I think it's
you
the
can
very
look up
first...
what your local chapter is too, right?
Oh, well, yeah, look, if you join the IEEE Computer Society, you will automatically become a member of your local chapter. But you can join online, or there are paper forms which we often send out to the chapters as well. I'm just trying to find the, there we go. Join the Computer Society. There we go. Okay, that's the link for joining. I will note that the pricing for students is much, much cheaper than the professional pricing. And it also includes a lot more. You get full access to the digital library, for example. Professional members, when they sign up, get a limited number of articles that they get access unless they pay extra for access. Student membership, it's all just included. The other thing is, I think that there may be some discount codes at the moment as well, where there's 50% off, I believe, for both IEEE and the Computer Society. So there's two lots of fees, one for the IEEE membership and one which is on top of it for the Computer Society. But I believe both of them are 50% off. You just need the code, which
I can't find it right away.
I will see if I can find it.
Oh, future 50 discount, but what's the code?
That's probably it.
Future 50 is what Eric Berkowitz said.
Well, then Eric would know. Let me just check.
Give the slide on.
Yep, new and renewing IEEE students and graduate students enjoy 50% discount off membership fees. Yep, future 50 with no gap. And is it on the page? Yeah, there we go. So it's actually, if you go to this link rather, join renew, you'll see it written on the page. Use the promo code future50 to save 50% when you join or renew as a student or graduate student today.
Yeah. And in a couple of years, there's another discount coming out for developing countries, but I don't know if Sri Lanka's on that or not.
And I think I think it's actually the same amount. So I think for the moment, if you can get either of them, you end up paying the same.
Yeah. It says developing countries is a 50% discount, but low income might be an 80%. But it just got voted in, so there's a lot of work to get it refined and standardized. But it'll be a couple of years before that comes out. But the 50 is really good.
Okay. So I hope that's all been very useful.
Nice.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else we should urgently tell everybody. Chris, anything?
No, there's a lot of changes. I mean, there is the one with Explore with authors that relates to authors who change their name later after they've published papers. They now have the right to show to IEEE legally their name changed and get it changed in the meta database without all their co-author approvals, which has been an issue for, like, say, women getting married and changing their names. Their whole history gets lost if all those co-authors do not approve. So that just got voted in last year as part of Kathy Land's, leadership to get that right to change your name, just proving to IEEE you have the legal right to do it. The other thing, big change last year, there's a new ethics reporting line, because within IEEE, if there's a problem at a conference or with there's just, you haven't 400,000 people as members, there's going to be a few instances. So now there's a more streamlined and better way to report any ethics problems, plagiarism if it isn't caught, stuff like that. So there's just a lot going on, and a lot more than I expected. Yeah. Go ahead.
I might actually just find that link to SYP. They've actually got their own subsite. So this is the link for SYP. That will include information on the help desk for people wanting to apply for the awards. So they're not due for a little while yet. But as I say, I think about April is when the Merwins are due. Most of the others are not due until around September or even November. Yeah, the people will all be changing because this is last year's volunteer list. We need to appoint people and then update the website. This happens every January because all volunteer positions last until December 31st and then they finish. But the committees that are there will still be there. Sorry, there's an even better link. That link just points to another link. Let me share the better link. The better link is just syp.computer.org. And that lets you see the Scholarship Outreach Initiative, for example. And the Scholarship Outreach Initiative, that's the program that can help people with their applications. There's also some leadership development, young professional mentoring programs, etc. So there's opportunities to participate in these global level activities. And there'll be new global level activities that will be added to that site in the next few months, probably when the new committee is appointed and they come up with their ideas. It takes a few months at the start of the year before everything's sort of up and running smoothly again. The annual problem of the year finishing and the new volunteers taking over. Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us.
Okay, thank you so much to Mr. Obler, Mrs. Schober, and Dr. Ulanat for joining us and giving us your wonderful inputs. Especially Mr. Andre is joining us in such an inconvenient hour. regardless of the inconvenience, is joining us and conducting such a wonderful session. So for your wonderful participation and for your wonderful inputs, we are extremely grateful. And as an act of appreciation, we have readied a few tokens for you to present. Shall we? Right, yeah. So here is the token of appreciation
Nice.
for Mr. Obler for joining us and giving us such a comprehensive description on all the awards, grants, and scholarships that are offered by the IEEE Computer Society. And then moving on, we have another token of appreciation for Mrs. Christina Schober. She was actually the person who we contacted first for this session, and she was so helpful for making this session a success. She was the one who contacted Ms. Andre and Dr. Ulanat. So thank you so much, Chris, for your contribution. And then we have our token of appreciation for Dr. Meni Ulanat for joining us, and again for your wonderful input. We are really glad to have you with us tonight. All right, we hope to meet you all again in a future session because IEEE Sri Lanka, IEEE Computer Society Sri Lanka chapter has been quite dormant for the past few years, and we have recently revamped. And since we've been revamped, we are conducting so many sessions like this. And the main motive of organizing this session was to increase the number of participants and increase the number of applicants for all these scholarships and awards that are being offered by the IEEE Computer Society. So I suppose we all got a sound idea of all these awards and scholarships. So thank you so much again for your wonderful contribution. We hope to increase the Sri Lankan representation in IEEE Computer Society in the future. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. We hope you learned a lot from our three speakers tonight, three wonderful speakers, and we hope to see you contributing more and more with the IEEE Computer Society in the future. So we hope to conduct many more sessions, many more successful sessions just like this. So until then, make sure to stay safe and stay healthy. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye all.